Well, thank you for coming in here this morning. I'm Barry Gordon with ACI. As you guys may or may not know, we're a sensor manufacturer located in Middleton, Wisconsin. I work right at the factory, and I just came down here today to go over some of our gas detection sensors. So any type of combustible and toxic gas detection systems that you guys are getting involved with, hopefully we'll cover them today and answer the questions that you might have. I do have some samples over on the table, and I'll be showing them off and handing them around once we're finished here with this quick PowerPoint that's probably going to take about 15 minutes. Okay? So gas sensors. Any type of combustible, like I said, freons, refrigerants, CO, NO2, and CO2 are probably our three biggest sellers. I would say freon after that. So any type of demand control ventilation within classrooms or any type of commercial space, CO2 seems to be the #1 gas detection sensor or market that we are getting involved with. After that, I would say parking garages for CO and NO2, any type of gas detection for gas engines for CO, and diesel engines would be NO2. And then after that, freon would be for mechanical or chiller rooms. So I'll go over some of the sensors that we have. Our CO and NO2 sensors. This is more of I would say, our bare bones type of sensor. Offers a 4 to 20 milliamp output or 2 to 10 volt. You can get this with a display that this ACI label is covering up. And on the side here, there's 3 buttons, and that will go into the setup menu. So if you want to set the different relays options that we have, you can set it to 0 to 20 ppm for the first relay to switch, and 30 ppm or 50, or however you want to set that to open up the trip points for the relays to start the fans. This can also go in with a building automation system or building management system with a 4 to 20 milliamp. CO is typically, I think, 0 to 250 ppm. NO2 is typically 0 to 10 or 0 to 5 ppm. And again, you'd set your trip points wherever you want the fans to open up after a certain ppm level. And these are available with all sorts of different gas detection, any type of combustible or toxic as well, but CO and NO2 are our main sellers again. CO2 sensors, we have, again, probably our #1 product that we get involved with gas detection. 4 to 20 milliamp, 0 to 10 volt, or 0 to 5 volt, all jumper selectable right on the circuit board, which is nice. It also has a relay option or LCD option. And then we have that for wall mount or duct mount, and we also have outdoor air mount. So that seems to be something that's going to be specified more and more in building plans and new buildings, is outdoor air CO2. So we do have that available in case you ever have a need for that. Our Q5 is shown here. This again is probably going to be competing against the Honeywell Analytic E3 point or Vulcane E3 point, if you guys are or understand or have used that. What's nice about this is that it has a replaceable sensor in the front, so you can actually, if you have a CO sensor on the shelf and you get to the field and realize, oh, I needed a NO2 sensor, you can take the circuit board and the sensor off, right off the front cover, pop in the NO2 sensor, and it's already calibrated from the field or from the factory, so you don't have to set up anything in the field. It has knockouts on each side, 2 knockouts on each side of the cover, or on the top, bottom, left and right side. On the display, it has a receiving and transmitting LED button, and it also has an LED for each of the 3 relays, so you know when you have a visual alarm of that being tripped. It also has an audio alarm. I believe it's 80 or 90 decibels. And all the setups are driven through the front menu keypad, and that has a display so you can go in and set any of your relays, any type of ppm level again. This is our QIRF. I was talking with some of you before. You get involved with mechanical rooms or chillers. What's nice about this guy is that you can actually choose which freon you want to detect. So if you're getting involved with a mechanical room and you come in and realize it's an R12 freon and you had ordered an R410A, you can actually, right from the front keypad, you can select R12 and it learns it, so you don't have to go back to Stromquist or back to your plant or office and pick up a new one. You can actually choose it right from the front drop-down menu. And it learns that, and it's factory calibrated. It's a program right on the chip. And again, this has the 3 relays, that visual alarm relays, transmitting and receiving LEDs, so you know that it's when it's transmitting and receiving a signal. And any type of freon that you come across the need for, we can do. This is our QTS 8000 series. Again, I have a sample over here on the table, and we can show it afterwards. This is more of explosion-proof type of environments. So if you ever get involved with any of those type of, methanes, hydrogen sulfide, any type of combustible or toxic gas detection, again, where you need that intrinsically safe type of enclosure. And here is more of the stripped down version of that without the LCD. This one shows the LCD. This one is not. And this is the M controller, which all of these tie into. So you can actually send the signal back from all these to the M controller, so you can monitor, control whatever gas detection that you're coming across. And this is, the M controller accepts, I believe, 32 inputs, 8 analog and 32 digital, so 40 total. Where the Q4C is only 4 digital inputs. And this just basically shows the control system, how all the sensors tie together into the controller and into your system via the internet. And I have these all available if you would like to get this after our meeting. I could email them to you. And this just shows how a typical system would be laid out. If you ever have a system where you want us to lay out, we can do that, and we do not charge anything for that. So if you give us the blueprint, we can show you where to put the sensors, how to tie them all back into the control system, and again, there's no cost for that. We can do that for you. This is just a typical Q4C controller with parking garages, and this was with more of an elaborate system where you have multiple sensors, or you would have multiple inputs where you'd use an M controller. Again, quick PowerPoint. That is it. If you have any questions, and I know that was fairly quick, but if you have any questions on any of our gas sensors, I have Stan with QEL. He's from the place that manufactures up in Canada. So any type of technical questions that I can't answer for you, he's here. But again, we can just go over the Freon sensors. This is the QIRF model, and this would be for more of a chiller room type application. So I have a plug-in here if you want to plug it in and see how to select the different gases right from the front.
Let me ask you a question real quick. On the,
Sure.
Does any of one device sense different type of gas, like multiple, you can use it to sense different type of gas? You mentioned garage. It could be just fumes from the truck, but also other toxic fumes as well.
It's gas specific.
It's gas specific.
So if you want for like gas engines, you would want CO sensors only. It's not like a air quality sensor where it's going to you know, pick up any type of gas. The reason we do not do that is air quality is anything. I mean, any type of smell in the air, a cigarette, any type of gas will put that system into alarm mode and start, you know, and you just will not have a very good system with you. Everything's going to be going off all the time.
Okay.
Any type of bad smell in the air, that will be going off, and your system is going to be constantly going, and that's not very good energy management.
No. And also the QIRF, if I'm pronouncing it right, the acronyms, is it needs a software, or everything is already in the system?
Everything is already there. It'll
just plug and play.
Exactly.
Okay.
On that QRF, it's one refrigerant at a time, is that correct?
Correct. One refrigerant only. If you have multiple chillers in the room, maybe one's R410A and one's R12, you would need 2 separate sensors.
So I see different part numbers here. However, if I understand you really only have one unit, you just set it up differently, is that correct?
The different part numbers is, again, if you wanted an R410A, we would calibrate that at the factory and ship it to you R410A.
Okay.
So you can literally plug it in and it's sensing and ready to go to R410A.
Then change in refrigerants.
Change in refrigerant is just from the front keypad menu there. So if you wanted to, if you get out in the field and realize that R410A is actually R12, you can select that right from the drop-down menu in the front.
Can it cross between high pressure and low pressure refrigerants?
No, it can't. It should, it measures the atmospheric pressure. What it has, it can measure, it has a lookup menu in the software. So it can measure any of those gases. What's neat about it too is, let's say for calibration you only need one gas. So if you go to a facility and you have R134 and you're measuring R22 or R507, you go into the software and you switch it to the calibration gas that you have, calibrate it, and then move it back to that gas.
So if we were to stock one unit, and let's say it's R11, 123, 123,
Yeah.
and someone wanted 134A, we would need to calibrate it in the field?
No,
No?
you would just have to switch it.
Okay, no calibration at all?
No calibration. So if somebody needed to, you have several of them in stock.
So I
and
stock one and that's enough?
That's correct.
And it's all done from the front keypad.
And it's all done from the front keypad. You go into the menu and it says change gas. You accept yes, and then it goes through the list of gas that you want, and then you accept it and it's done. It's what's unique, it has the 4 to 20, it has the 2 to 10, it also has a Modbus output. Uniquely, it has 3 relays, so you can set up the relays yourself for either a low and a high alarm and also a fault alarm. So if you do exceed a certain level, you can set up the 3rd relays to shut down the chiller.
That was going to be my next question. You mentioned it's Modbus. That's the only language it speaks currently.
Currently, it will have BACnet in the very near future on that.
Okay.
How near is near? We're talking this year, next year?
Yeah, this year.
This year.
This year. This year. And it's unique.
Lost this one.
The other,
Don't know where it went, huh?
the other feature with that unit is that it's the only one that can work in sub-freezing temperatures. So if you have like a large frozen food storage place, like for meat or fish or vegetables,
Right.
you can actually operate the thing in that environment. So it'll work down to minus 45 degrees C to plus 65, which is equivalent of minus 45 to I think 125 or 130 with no errors at all. And what we use is a heated optical bench. So that's the last place you'll get humidity that will form. It's one of the problems with other types of sensors is if they are in a humid environment, you can get condensation inside the optical bench and it will give you false readings.
Okay. throwing a curveball here for something that happened late last year, what happened at the school. Any one of you guys feel free to touch on something like that. I'm sure everybody here heard about what happened and what could have been prevented as far as, different protocols that would have alerted the right individual to take a look and see what happened.
Absolutely. I think that what you're talking about, Seon, is the carbon monoxide in the local school where a lot of the children were exposed to it, and they had to be evacuated, and I think even some of them were hospitalized. With our gas detection CO sensors, that could have been prevented. As we know with our children, we don't want anything to ever happen to them, and when they're at school, obviously, that's probably one of the, besides us, nobody else would really know that, gas sensors are out there to prevent this from happening. But you set that to a certain ppm level and it could have been prevented. It really could have. If the sensors were installed and they were in a building automation system, it could have vented the area and brought fresh air in.
Okay.
Just wanted to mention with the Q5 also, you have several options on the display. It will show CO, the concentration, or any gas concentration. You can also choose the screen to just have CO normal. In some locations, if the people see any type of reading, they may panic and say, okay, there's CO here, we better evacuate the room. So you have that user selectable screen. You also have a built-in memory, a rolling 7-day memory that tells you what happened the previous day. So you can look at your peak value and your average daily value and your short-term exposure limit. You can actually set the alarms on that level also. This is also available in BACnet now, and it is either in a master-slave configuration. This has been tested with all the major manufacturers of BACnet controllers. Very, very, very easy to set up. So it's quite a neat little unit. We made it easier even for the electricians to install. We actually have removable terminal blocks. So all the installer has to do is install the bottom cover on there, remove these terminal blocks, set the wires, and plug them in.
Okay.
This is you actually have the removable board here. So if you needed to change the sensor, it's just a matter of popping these 2 screws out, putting it out, and then plugging it in. We have a built-in clock also for this unit, and you will be able to set the alarms, the relays on time of day. So if you wanted to have the fans on for an hour or so, that'll be available. I'd like to maybe just talk about the 8000. This is just the explosion-proof version, and we have this one available with toxic sensors, so that's your COs and ammonias and any other type of hazardous gas. We also have it with combustible gases, so if you're doing methanes and propanes and natural gases. We have it, so that's a combustible sensor, and we also have it with an infrared sensor. That's mostly for tank fires and things like that. Another big application for the infrared sensor is for alcohol storage facilities. For example, if you're bottling Crown Royal or aging that's usually in a large warehouse, and there's always a constant, comfortable fumes of alcohol in there. Traditionally, combustible or catalytic sensors would only last about 6 months, and they have to be calibrated every month. By using an infrared sensor, your lifespan is at least 10 years, and your frequency of calibration is maybe once a year. So sometimes the infrared sensors are a little bit more costly, but your cost of maintenance is a lot less. You don't need a technician every month to climb up to ceiling and do some calibration. So these can be had with relays. It has a Modbus, RS-45, communication 4 to 20, 2 to 10. We also have them with remote sensors and remote calibration adapters.
I actually will go over the CO2 sensor again. I know we covered this in the PowerPoint, but the CO2 sensor, again, we have these for wall mount CO2 sensors. It's going to be our A-Sense and E-Sense line. So if you go to workaci.com and look for carbon dioxide CO2, it's going to be the A-Sense and E-Sense. The E-Sense is going to be just the plain CO2 wall mount sensor with 4 to 20, 0 to 5, 0 to 10. The A-Sense is going to have the relay versions and also the display versions. Now this is the wall mount shown here. We also have it for a duct mount that basically comes with a tube out the back and a NEMA rated enclosure. I also mentioned we do have this in outdoor air sensors now for CO2. In the past, you would just maybe put in on your building automation system, maybe a value of 450 ppm. They actually want that reference now in a lot of specifications. So we do have an outdoor air CO2 sensor. We do have, a lot of guys have asked for CO2 and temperature in the same enclosure. We have that now available. We even added humidity to it. So we do have a CO2 temp RH sensor all in one enclosure, and also with BACnet.
Okay.
So that would be our Venistat series, and that's again on our website. Very similar enclosure, all wall mount. We have duct mount and outside air.
What's the model number for the duct mount? I'm sorry.
The duct mount CO2 sensor would be an A-Sense-D for duct, or an E-Sense-D, again based on options if you want a display or relays.
Okay.
E-Sense would be non-relay, and A-Sense would be with the relay.
The relay.
I just talk a little bit about the controllers. The M controller, as Barry mentioned, has 32 digital or RS-45 channels and 8 analog inputs. Those analog inputs can be from any type of device. So if you have a temperature sensor or humidity sensor, as long as it has 4 to 20 or 2 to 10, it will be able to display that value. Each controller comes with very, very easy to use software. So basically all you have to do is program in the variable that you're looking at and set the span, and you're off. Download it into the controller. The controller also has an MNet module, and basically that connects the controller to the internet, and you can perform remote monitoring, remote programming, and remote data logging. Another option with the unit are remote displays. So if you require a display in a control room, it will, you can set it on that RS-45 network and have that in a control room or outside a mechanical room. Those remote displays also come with relays. So if you need to alarm or have a visual indication of a strobe or horn, relays are available there for that. We also have what we call M switches. M switches work on the RS-45 network, and switches take the place of one sensor, but they act as a control to turn on the relay that it's assigned to. So if you needed, let's say you were in a mechanical room and you needed to turn on the fan, you can have this switch either in the room or outside the room, or several in series, but still takes one address to turn on the fan and turn it off. We also offer strobes and lights and horns, so we offer the whole package.
As far as retrofitting, how easy is it to integrate into an existing system, for example, building automation system? Also, speaking on the same gas sensor, where there's other brands out there, if I was to look into getting one of those and swap it out because one went bad or this might be much easier, is there any protocol that I have to change? Because, for example, some would be BACnet or Niagara, but I can read it off my controller. what's the conversion, how easy it is to change out?
If it is a back net, it's very easy. It's just connect the two communication wires and the power wires and you're done. And its program is made to work universally.
Okay.
If it's a mod bus, it's very easy to connect also. So, and it's all 4-wire systems, etc. So if you do change an existing system and pull it out, you can install ours, no problem. There's no additional wiring. All our calibration data is on the internet, or calibration instructions. So if your clients choose to service the unit themselves, it's very, very easy to calibrate. You never even have to open up the unit. It's all menu driven. Basically, it's a zero and a span on the unit. You connect an adapter to the front of the panel here. You go into calibration mode. It tells you open the gas. You open your gas, it waits, it looks for stability and it says accepted. Then it tells you what's your span gas and you adjust it. Once it's done, it tells you to open the cylinder and it looks for a minimum response. Once it has that minimum response, it also looks for stability. When it's stable, it's accepted and you're done. So you don't need multimeters or anything like that. And it's all menu driven. And that's for the Q5 and also the infrared unit that we have for refrigerants. All the instructions are on the net. All the installation drawings are on the internet also. We have a very good technical support team with ACI and QEL together. So we often program units or help program units or calibrate units on the phone. So if there's any issues, they call us up and we're on the phone with you to support you right away. So our support system is very, very strong.
Absolutely. Whenever there's technical assistance calls that come in, if we can't answer it, we will call up to QEL and within 15 minutes or less, they will be on the phone with the guy in the field. So as you guys know, that time is money and that's very valuable. If you have any questions set up, and there's no extra cost for that. You just give us a call and we'll walk you right through and get it set up correctly. Okay. Thank you again for coming today, guys. I hope we were able to help you out with any questions that you had. If you ever need a cross-reference list or any other manufacturer's gas sensors that you're using in the field, feel free to give me a call or Stromquist a call and we can help you guys out. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you need to control it or measure it, Stromquist & Company has a control solution for you. With over $2 million of inventory between our Georgia and Florida locations, an easy-to-use online ordering platform, same-day shipping, and a factory-trained team of controls experts to answer your questions, Stromquist & Company continues in its tradition of offering great service and great products.